Hi, welcome to another installment of 52 in 52, in which I am interviewing 52 Wisconsin experts and rolling out their knowledge over a period of 52 consecutive weeks. Today I have with me a gentleman by the name of Pat Driscoll, who I bring out and have meet with some of my clients, and I'm always just utterly astounded at the knowledge he has regarding tax planning and business and personal estate planning. And for that reason, not only does R&R Insurance utilize Pat's talents, but other agencies, other producers reach out to Pat and have them meet with Pat as well. So a lot of things change every year regarding this particular topic, and it's always kind of a hot topic, and I wanted to have Pat come in and talk about it. So with that, why don't I have Pat introduce himself, his background, and then we're really going to cover just 3 questions. And then I'm going to include some documents below the video that you can go reach in the cloud, if you will, and refer to if you have additional questions. And then I'll tell you about Pat's contact information at the end of the clip. So Pat, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And why don't you just start, give us a little bit of history about your background.
I've been in business about 37 years. I came out of an MBA program, then I had a tax law training, and I went to work for a company that did business mainly through independent property casualty agents. We would serve as the estate and business planning department for them. Then from there I moved on and managed the CNA life operation in the Twin Cities and in Milwaukee, and did that until 1990 when I joined R&R Insurance. I've been here, 22, a little over 22 years, and been a pretty good run. I don't think we have a lot of guys doing what I do on the independent agency side. Most of the guys that do what I do might be connected with a particular insurance company, not necessarily unaffiliated.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, if Congress is in action, how will that affect my clients, my prospective clients, their estate planning or business estate planning?
Yeah, I think the thing to look at, if I were just going to generalize it, all Congress and the President have to do is nothing for this thing to tank. I think a lot of people are paying attention to the what-ifs on the income tax side or the dividend side. Mm-hmm. Well, attached to that same tax bill is the estate tax. Back in 2001, Bush created this a sunsetted version of a tax law that was going to go from 2001 to 2011, and it would sunset. What that means is all deals were off after that and went back to the 2001 levels. So in 2009, what we had was a $3.5 million death exemption that each person had, besides what they could give to their surviving spouse. And on the living side, you had a $1 million, so you could give anything up to $1 million to anybody other than your spouse while you're alive. 2010, I hope everybody had a chance to die because there was no estate tax in 2010. We knew that something had to get done or that everything was going to tank, but they waited until December 19th, 2010, and they then said, well, no, we're going to extend this. This is going to create a huge problem if we don't. The one surprise is they went to a $5 million exemption, both living and dead. I got together with a lot of my clients and I said, everything else could be temporary. What's really real here is let's use up that $5 million living exemption. For them to come back and try to get it back after you've already given it away is nearly impossible. So that is going to impact every business owner that felt that they could pass the business the way they thought they could. Mm-hmm. And it's going to cause a huge liquidity problem. We have a lot of people that are, I'm going to be 60, and we have a lot of people that are around my age group that we figure that the biggest transfer of wealth our country's ever seen is going to happen now, probably sometime in the next 5 to 10 years. It could be a huge problem, especially for a closely held business.
Right. So, having said that, what type of planning should my clients be thinking about right now?
I'd look at a couple of things. We've had gifts of limited interest that are particularly good to use in situations like this. Tom, a limited interest gift might be non-voting stock. A father and mother keep the voting stock. They do something called a recapitalization, creating non-voting stock, and get significant amount of asset over to the next generation. Remember, that non-voting stock looks like Packer stock. You can put it on your wall, it's not going to do much for you. The mom and dad or whomever, owners, still maintain control. The other thing, there's a lot of business real estate that's owned personally. Why not put that real estate in something called a family limited partnership and give the children the non-controlling interest? You know, a limited interest and non-voting stock. The IRS says, you know, there's not as much value there as there is in controlling interest, so they give you a huge discount. So not only do you want to use up as much as you can of that $5 million living gift, but if I can give away $3 million and have the IRS say, yeah, I'm only going to count 1.5 because it's not really a valuable gift. There's really no market for it. Well, you can leverage it. So that's your big opportunity, I think, between now and the end of the year. You know, there's a bill before Congress put in by a Democrat, you know, to extend everything for 1 year. Well, again, this is like, you know, where is this going to stop?
Right.
You know, they've got to permanentize some of this as much as, you know, Congress can always rescind it, but it's hard to plan. It's been very hard for businesses to plan, really, since 2001.
I've heard some horror stories about failure to do this the right way. Tell me about some of the tax traps that are involved in this.
Well, there's always been two big tax traps that the IRS can spring on you. One, the value of your business. I've got news flash for you. It probably isn't the book value. So you're making plans predicated on a book value being the value they accept for state taxes. It probably won't happen. That's the one tax trap. Second tax trap, watch out for personally owned life insurance or corporately owned life insurance. To whatever extent you own that business, that part of the life insurance benefit is going to be attributable to your estate. Any insurance you own personally is going to be attributable to your estate. And if nothing happens, we're going to go back down to $1 million and $1 million, living and death exemption. The tax rate on anything over that's going to go from 35 to 55. So that, I think, is going to devastate a lot of estates with closely held businesses, because maybe your only option to pay the taxes is to sell the business, and it's going to be a fire sale. So that would be the things that I would be the most concerned with. The reason you want to get on it sooner rather than later, we don't have much time. We've got 4 months, realistically. And you're going to have to do some integration with your estate planning, with your business planning. If anybody's been waiting and waiting and waiting, I think you're deluding yourself. There are some things you can do. The living gifts are, I think, the primary thing that you want to get taken care of before year end. That's the thing that's the most tempestuous, I think, right now.
Before we sign off today, are there any other key points you'd like to share with the audience?
One thing you might want to do while you're going through this process, depending on who is involved in this kitchen, you know, who the cooks are, if you have existing insurance, personal or business, you may want to have it reviewed. I would tell you, I grew up in the insurance business with property casualty guys like you, Tom. You, as a normal course of action, review what you do.
Right.
Every year you have a renewal. On our side, not so much. A lot of those guys I would characterize as hit and run artists. You may see them again when they try to sell you something, but a lot of what they may have bought is underperforming or non-performing. Some things have changed in the industry. Products have gotten better. I would review it to see how the product shakes out. I'd also review it to make sure it wasn't in the wrong pocket, that it didn't exasperate your estate tax problem rather than solve your estate tax problem.
Very good points. Thank you very much for coming in today. I think that's something every business owner should be concerned with. With that, like I said in the beginning of the film, I'll attach some additional documents from Pat that Pat's put together for this video and for some other prospective clients that he meets with. Thank you for joining us for this installment of 52 and 52. There'll be another one next week, and then the following week. We'll keep going on and on until we reach all 52. If you'd like to get in touch with Pat, you can always contact me. I'll be happy to bring Pat in. or I'll also include Pat's contact information below the YouTube video, and you can reach out to him directly. Thanks again. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Pat.